Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is a morning report supplemental because my schedule's been, unfortunately, I've not been able to stay on regular schedules. So what I decided to do tonight, it's Friday evening while I'm doing this, and is to sort of do a little catch up. We didn't do a real morning report, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday, and I apologize for that. But I wanted to make sure that I came at you and you saw this on Saturday or Monday or whenever you decided to click on the YouTube link or to click on the Spotify notification, or you found the link on the tbctampa.com website. All the places we are, and we are a lot of places, folks, and that is exciting. I wanted to sort of catch up and talk about some things. I want to talk about the end of the Republican National Convention, which is why I didn't do anything this morning, because I was up late watching that along with everybody else, and and how I saw the convention and what was said about the Republican convention, in contrast to the Democrat convention. There's some really very very important contrasts that we have to get and we have to exploit, really. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I want to dig into a couple of these cases that have popped up in the past week. Well, the first case that's popped up in the past week is the Jacob Blake police shooting, where Jacob Blake gets shot by a Kenosha police officer in the back, and is paralyzed now, and it caused 3 or 4 nights of ridiculous rioting in what is really, if you've ever been to Kenosha is this. Wait a minute. There you go. Kenosha is this big. It's a sleepy little town, on Lake Michigan, I think. It's, and it's nice. I visited there a number of 2 or 3 years ago, and I thought to myself, well, I was there in March and it snowed, so I wasn't down with that. But I thought, in the summertime, I bet you this is a really nice little town. I was over by the Kenosha Yacht Club, right off the lake, and I thought, I bet you this is nice. Probably about 78 degrees, not any humidity in the summertime. I'm sure it's beautiful. But people actually damn near burned that little town to the ground. All the important things are damaged over the shooting of Jacob Blake. I'm going to talk a little bit about Jacob Blake, and we're also going to talk about Kyle Rittnhouse, connected to the Jacob Blake shooting. You've already heard that story, but what you need is some perspective in all of that. Also, we're going to mention, I've been able to do some research on the Breonna Taylor story. There are a lot of black activists out there on social media crying for the police officers who shot Breonna Taylor to be arrested, and they still haven't arrested these police officers. Well, there's a really good reason why they haven't, and much to the chagrin of a lot of these BLM folks, there's really good reasons why they're not going to. They're not going to. So we got to get to that. I also want to do a segment for a lot of my friends on Facebook. Again, and this is going to be directed to a lot of the black conservative groups on Facebook, behaving in a way that I think is counterproductive. I want to talk a little bit about that, and then I'll let you go. Promise. I'm going to keep you here 4-5 hours tops, or much less time. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with the Morning Report Supplemental. It is taped on August 28th. This is a super important day. A super important day. This is the anniversary of the March on Washington. This is the day that in 1963 where the "I Have a Dream" speech was shared with the world. It's a very, very important day. So I figured before I went to bed, I had to do something important, and nothing more important than hanging out with you guys for a little bit. I will be back right after these messages. Thank you.
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't. I can prove it. Walk with me. They don't want you to see this. I'm Kim Klasick. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This is the reality for Black people every single day. Crumbling infrastructure, abandoned homes, poverty, and crime. Baltimore has been run by the Democrat Party for 53 years. What is the result of their decades of leadership? Baltimore is one of the top 5 most dangerous cities in America. The murder rate in Baltimore is 10 times the U.S. average. The Baltimore poverty rate is over 20%. Homicide, drug, and alcohol deaths are skyrocketing in our city. Do you believe Black Lives Matter? I do. The vast majority of crime in Baltimore is perpetrated against Black people, who make up 60% of the population. So why don't we care about our communities? The Democrat Party have betrayed the Black people of Baltimore. If the politicians walked the streets like I do, they would see exactly how their policies and corruption affects us. But they don't want to see it. They don't want you to see this. Go to any Baltimore neighborhood and ask this question. Do you want to defund the police?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
I had 3 sons killed in Baltimore City. And I think if we defund the police office, it's going to be worse than that. So no, I'm opposed to that.
What are you going to defund the police for? Why? How do you defend your city, your community? Families are losing people.
It's not just Baltimore. The worst place for a Black person to live in America is a Democrat-controlled city. It's 2020. Name a blue city where Black people's lives have gotten better. Try. I'll wait. Look at this. How are children supposed to live here and play here? Democrats think Black people are stupid. They think they can control us forever, that we won't demand better and that we'll keep voting for them forever, despite what they've done to our families and our communities. Are they right? I'm Kim Klasick, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about Black lives. All Black lives matter. Our communities matter. Baltimore matters. And Black people don't have to vote Democrat.
All right, we're back. Thanks so much. I wanted to first talk about the Jacob Blake madness. What people saw on Twitter and on YouTube was that Jacob Blake got out of a vehicle, walked around a vehicle, and for some unknown reason other than wanton systemic racism, a Kenosha police officer shot Jacob Blake 7 times in the back. And that was the story. And that was the story that mainstream media, when I'm talking about mainstream media, I'm talking about CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, went with without much detail or context or nuance or anything. They just went with what you saw in the video. And the only reason, the only excuse for any of it is wanton police brutality against unarmed Black people. Well, we're going to have that discussion, and I talked about it a little bit on the audio portion of the supplemental today about how it is problematical at the very least. Excuse me, I'm going to move that just a little bit. There you go. Problematical, and you know what? At the very least, that every time there is a uprising over the shooting of an unarmed Black person, it's some. I'm going to just tell you, some Black person who is run afoul of the law. Jacob Blake is being seen as a doting father of 6. I'm going to say it. Doting father of 6 at the age of 29 years old. Dude got 6 babies. He is 29 years old. And for what I can find, he ain't married to nobody. Now, if that's not the case, please comment below and I'll retract that statement. But he is being seen as a doting father of 6 at the age of 29 years old. That's a lot of babies. It's a lot of babies, at 29 years old. And what do I mean by that? I'll tell you. I mean by that there's a lot of bad decisions that were made. There are a lot of decisions that weren't really helpful. But forget about that. Let's talk about the case. This is from police1.com. Dateline, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Wisconsin officials revealed the new details today, Friday, in the caught-on-tape shooting of Jacob Blake. And I identified the 2 police officers who were there at the scene when a white cop fired 7 rounds into Jacob Blake's back. During a struggle that preceded the broad daylight shooting in Kenosha, police deployed their tasers twice to subdue Jacob Blake. Twice. So let's just be real. When you tase somebody, not once, but twice, and they don't fall down, you know, like I know, because you're an adult. This isn't somebody who's just immune to electricity. Jacob Blake wasn't some sort of weird superhero immune to electricity. It's on something. Own something. People on PCP, you can't tase. I'm not saying that Jacob Blake's on PCP because there is no possible way that I know that. But what I do know is that people on PCP, you can't tase. They keep coming. They keep freaking coming. They just keep going. And it doesn't matter how big or small you are. A lot of really big people get brought to their knees instantaneously by being tasered. And this person was tased not once, but twice. One of the cops who used a taser Sunday afternoon was Rustin Shasky, a 7-year veteran of the Kenosha Police Department, who was identified as the shooter earlier this week. Now, we saw in the videotape was the point where he's trying to pull Blake from getting into his car. Because Blake's already said, he's already told them that he does have a knife. He's already told them. The shooting, which unfolded just inches away from 3 of Blake's kids, appeared to have left him paralyzed. Apparently, now Mr. Blake is paralyzed, and that's a terrible shame. I'd rather have him paralyzed and have a chance to turn his life around than be dead. Sure. And it's prompted a whole new wave of protest against police brutality and systemic racism across the city and the country this week. It's unclear why police used a lethal weapon during the incident as it began as a domestic situation. But the authorities claim Blake had admitted to having a knife. And the cops found one in the driver's side floorboard of his car. Police responded to the scene. Here's the backstory. Police responded to the scene that day after a woman reported that her boyfriend, so this dude ain't married, was present and wasn't supposed to be on the premises. He was there and he wasn't supposed to be. Apparently, there was some order. That's my guess. Some sort of restraining order. He wasn't supposed to be there, right? According to the Wisconsin DOJ, cops then tried to take the suspect into custody, but he resisted arrest, walking away from them and tried to get back in the car, authorities said. That's when Shasky fired the weapon 7 times at close range while holding Blake's shirt, a moment that was caught on cell phone camera video and was witnessed by a multiple horrified neighbors. Blake was airlifted to the hospital where he is still being treated, and the whole deal recently that he was still handcuffed because that's his procedure, and kind of a douche move when you're talking about a paralyzed guy, right? So today, this afternoon, the police came and unshackled him from his hospital bed. He ain't getting up and walking out, that's for sure. Not anytime soon. The officers who were there have been placed on administrative leave. No one's been fired. The State Department of Justice is leading the investigation with assistance from the FBI, Wisconsin State Patrol, the Kenosha County Sheriff's Office. Authorities say they plan to turn over the findings to a prosecutor within 30 days. Blake had previously been arrested on domestic abuse charges involving an ex-girlfriend, court records show, and he was arrested last month on charge of disorderly conduct, criminal trespass, and third-degree sexual assault in connection with the case. Jacob Blake being portrayed as the doting 29-year-old father of 6. Maybe someone that we shouldn't turn into a martyr. Maybe someone we shouldn't turn into a martyr. Let's talk about Kyle Rittnhouse for a minute. 17 years old. And we know that people 17 years old, men especially, boys especially, that whole frontal cortex thing that needs to develop, that deals with consequence, not fully developed, apparently goes to Wisconsin, goes to Kenosha after all this happens, and he's going to participate, or thinks he's going to participate in defending public some people's properties and private property, and sort of help the locals with calming down the rioters in Kenosha. Now, some would say that that this 17-year-old went looking for trouble, looking for someone to shoot. I don't think that's true. I think it's more like he went to see what he could do, and he really thought in his brain that he was going to be able to do some good. The problem was that what the 17-year-old didn't realize was he was going to be way in over his head. Way in over his head. Apparently he went by himself. He didn't go with somebody else, somebody older, somebody more experienced. He went by himself and ended up way in over his head. And he was attacked by protesters. 2 of the people who attacked him were 2 of the people that he killed, and he did shoot them with his AR-15, which is still just a hunting rifle, y'all. Still just a damn hunting rifle. And the third person that was injured had pulled a weapon, a Glock, on him, and he ended up getting shot in the arm. Boy, he was surprised. He was surprised. You can see on the video, he was surprised on how much that it hurt. So it was, or it seems, let me say it this way, it seems obvious that Kyle Rittnhouse was defending himself when he shot all 3 people. Now, I don't know the Wisconsin laws. I don't know whether he should have had a weapon there, if he had rights to have the weapon there, if he broke the law, other than all of them, as mentioned by the Kenosha Sheriff's Office. The sheriff there said they were all breaking curfew, and if none of them had been there in the first place, if they would have all been obeying the curfew, that wouldn't have happened. Now, the sheriff has taken a lot of abuse for that statement, but it's the only adult statement to make. Wouldn't have happened to you had you not been there. I tell people all the time. I tell my students all the time. Most of the time, you get in trouble is when you are doing something you're not supposed to be doing. That's when you mostly get in trouble. And if you combine being somewhere where you're not supposed to be and doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, you are seeking trouble out. You are turning over rocks, looking for trouble, asking, begging for trouble. Rioters, and Kyle, unfortunately, I believe, somewhere where he didn't really have business to be, doing something they really shouldn't have been doing, and now he's in trouble. Jacob Blake is not a martyr. Kyle Rittnhouse is not a hero. It's a hot mess, and the only solution is for calmer heads, adults, to come back to the table and get these situations under control. If the Kenosha Police Department is unable to quell the violence in Kenosha, and they can't get any help from the Sheriff's Department or the state police, then they may need to call in the National Guard to restore order there. It ain't the first time it's been done in history. Because that's what adults do. Comment below. Do your worst. We'll be right back.
This is your brother, Antone Tucker, better known as Tony X. The reason why you see people outside and upset is because they were led to be that way. The main goal of the liberal today is to make sure that the black feels disenfranchised because they're the ones doing it to you. And they also make sure that your white conservative brothers and sisters feel powerless to talk to you. Black history isn't in the school books. Who do you think started the educational system that is currently brainwashing our children? Jimmy Carter's administration. Why is it that when Obama was in office for 8 years, he didn't get prison reform done? See, I see people saying Trump's racist, but I see that prison reform was done. Over 90,000 black and brown brothers and sisters coming home from prison. I see opportunity zones up and running. Think about it. Black historical colleges, the most funding they've ever had in history, and it came from Donald Trump. For the politicians that think that it's okay to defund police officers, to make sure that the officers within these communities can't do their jobs, shame on you. And as a new leader, I'm going to tell all the leaders coming up, it's time for us to stand up and lead. Thank you for taking your time listening to me. God bless you.
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't. I can prove it. Walk with me. They don't want you to see this. I'm Kim Klasick. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This is the reality for Black people every single day. Crumbling infrastructure, abandoned homes, poverty, and crime. Baltimore has been run by the Democrat Party for 53 years. What is the result of their decades of leadership? Baltimore is one of the top 5 most dangerous cities in America. The murder rate in Baltimore is 10 times the U.S. average. The Baltimore poverty rate is over 20%. Homicide, drug, and alcohol deaths are skyrocketing in our city. Do you believe Black Lives Matter? I do. The vast majority of crime in Baltimore is perpetrated against Black people, who make up 60% of the population. So why don't we care about our communities? The Democrat Party have betrayed the Black people of Baltimore. If the politicians walked the streets like I do, they would see exactly how their policies and corruption affects us. But they don't want to see it. They don't want you to see this. Go to any Baltimore neighborhood and ask this question. Do you want to defund the police?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
I had 3 sons killed in Baltimore City. And I think if we defund the police office, it's going to be worse than that. So no, I'm opposed to that.
What are you going to defund the police for? Why? How do you defend your city, your community? Families are losing people.
It's not just Baltimore. The worst place for a black person to live in America is a Democrat-controlled city. It's 2020. Name a blue city where black people's lives have gotten better. Try. I'll wait. Look at this. How are children supposed to live here and play here? Democrats think black people are stupid. They think they can control us forever, that we won't demand better and that we'll keep voting for them forever, despite what they've done to our families and our communities. Are they right? I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about black lives. All black lives matter. Our communities matter. Baltimore matters. And black people don't have to vote Democrat.
Oh, welcome back. I want to talk a little bit about, it was last night, on Thursday night was the last night of the Republican National Convention. And bango. Just incredible, I thought. And the comparison is startling between the Republican National Convention and the Democrat National Convention. Democrat National Convention, an evening after evening of everything wrong with America, everything wrong with Americans, everything wrong with being patriotic, everything wrong with being a fan of the country, everything wrong. The Republican National Convention was a convention of all the things that make America great. All its institutions, all of its people, law enforcement, educators, everything that makes America great. It was a cheerleading session. It was a cheerleading session about the economy, a cheerleading session about law enforcement, and safety and security, a reminder to people about some of the policies that have benefited America in a special kind of way. It made you feel good to say, I am an American. Now, unfortunately for me, I'm proud to be an American. That song got played twice last night. Yeah, I know it's your favorite song. I know how much you love it. And I know how sometimes it brings a tear to your eye. I get it. But I went to a lot of Tea Party gatherings. Jeez, Manetti. Every damn one. Well, I'm proud of being an American. Is there not another song? Can somebody write another song, please? Can someone write another song? It sort of reminds me of Butterfly Kisses. Remember Butterfly Kisses? And then that song came out about a Christmas song about that this little boy wanted to buy a pair of shoes for his mama, so she has nice shoes, these pretty new shoes when she meets Jesus, because she dies at Christmas time. You remember that song? Like, oh, God, stop it. It sort of puts me in the mind of I'm proud to be an American. What the song says is lovely. It's wonderful. I guess I'm just tired of hearing it. And I personally am tired of the soundtrack of the conservative movement is being country, because there's so much more out there. But in any case, I thought that other than that, I thought it was fabulous. I thought the opera singer at the end, I thought that was fabulous. I thought the fireworks were friggin' outrageous. And I live in Florida, and so not far from Disney, so I know fireworks, y'all. Y'all say y'all live in New York and New York Harbor, and the fireworks y'all have on Memorial Day and the 4th of July. Disney does that crap every night. Disney doubles that crap every night. And the fireworks that I saw last night at the end of the Republican National Convention, right up there. Unfortunately, I don't know if they can do that every night, because Disney does that crap every friggin' night, especially in the summertime. If they bring it, we're gonna blow up everything. Amazing. but just the way things were presented. Some of the speakers, some politicians, yes, but a lot of just regular people, which I thought, and it was well produced, but just regular people. I don't know how you sit through the testimony of David Dorn's wife, and all you can think of is F Trump. Are you serious? If that's the case, there's something bad wrong with you. If you can sit through that story of her pain and her heartache, losing the love of her life in the way it was done, and not be affected, there's something wrong with you. And all you can think of is F Trump. Something's wrong with you. You need treatment. There is something bad wrong with you. The stories from Dr. Carson, of course. This is early on in the convention. Tim Scott. My family went from cotton to Congress in a lifetime. What a tremendous, tremendous testimony. That's a book title, y'all. From cotton to Congress in a lifetime. Which gives you something that the left doesn't want you to have. Is hope. It's hope. Hope was on full display at the RNC. Doom was on full display at the DNC. When vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris says that the riots aren't going to stop, and they shouldn't stop, even after the election. What? Are you kidding me? If you don't believe it, look it up. I'm not lying to you. What does that mean? It's funny. I get a lot of pushback on it, and you guys know who follow me on Facebook. I get a lot of pushback at anything that seems like it's pushing forward Donald Trump. But when I expose something that Kamala Harris says from the left, some people who say that they are centrist and they're just trying to search for the truth, commenting on things like the riots aren't going to stop and they shouldn't stop from Kamala Harris, a vice presidential candidate, someone who's going to be a heartbeat away from being the president of the United States if elected, encouraging the rioters to continue to do what they're doing in American cities. And then you are silent on that. Nothing. Shame on you. Shame on you. I enjoyed the RNC because, again, I felt when it was over, and I know feelings fade. I thought that there was hope. I was excited about the way it ended. Maybe I was manipulated by the speeches. Maybe I was manipulated by a man in a wheelchair who said he was going to stand up for the flag. He needed some help, but he got to his feet. It's important. And that resonates with, and as much as the leftist elitists hate it, it resonates with a lot of Americans. It still does. And maybe in the next election it won't as much. Maybe in 2028 it won't resonate as much. But for now, it resonates. The story of Dr. Carson still resonates. The service of someone like David Dorn to his community, that still resonates. Yeah, it worked for me. May not work for you. It damn sure worked for me. We'll be back in a minute.
This is your brother, Antone Tucker, better known as Tony X. The reason why you see people outside and upset is because they were led to be that way. The main goal of the liberal today is to make sure that the black feels disenfranchised because they're the ones doing it to you. And they also make sure that your white conservative brothers and sisters feel powerless to talk to you. Black history isn't in the school books. Who do you think started the educational system that is currently brainwashing our children? Jimmy Carter's administration. Why is it that when Obama was in office for 8 years, he didn't get prison reform done? See, I see people saying Trump's racist, but I see that prison reform was done. Over 90,000 black and brown brothers and sisters coming home from prison. I see opportunity zones up and running. Think about it. Black historical colleges, the most funding they've ever had in history, and it came from Donald Trump. For the politicians that think that it's okay to defund police officers, to make sure that the officers within these communities can't do their jobs, shame on you. And as a new leader, I'm going to tell all the leaders coming up, it's time for us to stand up and lead. Thank you for taking your time listening to me. God bless you.
Hey, welcome back. I want to finish up with something that really sort of bothered me today, and I was trying to deal with it on my way to work through, Facebook posts. Impossible way to deal with anything, really. Stupid way to try to even deal with anything. My fault, my bad. Sorry. Saw a picture of former President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama, and they were walking somewhere. Michelle's dress was blowing in the wind, and then there was a circle drawn around this whole idea of the former First Lady's pelvic region, implying that somehow Michelle Obama had a penis. And there's this constant from people I think that are mature middle school. The majority of middle school boys that will continue to say, that are saying on social media that Michelle Obama is actually a man. She's trans. She's actually a man, or hermaphroditic or something, and somehow the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, is somehow this gay man, and this is what they call useful dialogue. And it is. It's just like the people like Bette Midler who have nothing better to do but attack the way that Melania Trump speaks. Heavy accent. The woman speaks 5 languages because a lot of people in Europe speak a lot more languages because they have to. It's different than having Georgia and Alabama on your border. It's having different countries on your border that you could drive to in an afternoon. So a lot of people from Europe speak more than one language. They do. Excuse me, that's my chair again. I told you about my chair. So when Bette Midler attacks Melania Trump on her accent, and other people on Twitter attack her saying that she needs to learn how to speak English, and on and on. And actually one of my favorite Instagram accounts decided that based on what Mrs. Trump wore, that a Fidel Castro hat would look nice with what she was wearing. It's a dig, saying that, Fidel's a fascist and so are the Trumps, obviously, is what she was trying to bring to the table. But attacking in the way, I learned the lesson, and I learned it from the left, I guess. Attacking people, especially attacking women, by what they look like, is beyond the pale. But it didn't stop the left from attacking Dr. Carson's wife. It doesn't stop the left from attacking Melania Trump. So it is not a really good idea strategically to return the same sort of childish, sophomoric rhetoric and bullcrap when talking about Michelle Obama. If you're in one of these black conservative Facebook groups, you have a huge opportunity to talk about policy, to talk about how conservatism is the answer to what ails urban America. And you're never going to reach people if you continue to participate in that kind of foolishness. And whether you wanted the platform or not, whether you wanted the responsibility or not, if you're in one of these conservative black groups, you now have it. It's not just a private club. And if it's just a private club, it might as well not exist. You might as well take the damn thing down. Erase all the posts, take it all down. You might as well, because it's stupid. So stop acting stupid. Stop being the left. We have to be better. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report Supplemental. I feel like Captain Kirk. When all hell broke loose and he didn't have a star date, he would just go, this is Captain's Log Supplemental, right? This is just something to add to the rest of them. Again, thank you ever so much for tuning in. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.